So those were the headlines, and let's now put the spotlight on Curebay, which, like I said, has raised $21 million in a Series B funding round that was led by Bertelsmann India Investment. This round also saw participation from existing investors like Elevar Equity and British International Investment. The company, in fact, provides accessible and affordable services for doctor consultation, diagnostics, pharmacy, and tertiary care for rural households through its network of 150 plus eClinics that are operational across Odisha and Chhattisgarh. The company in total has raised about $35.3 million, and that's spread over 4 rounds so far. And to discuss the latest funding round, how will the funding be deployed, and the growth outlook for the company, we're now joined by Priyadarshi Mohapatra, the founder and CEO of Curebay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohapatra, for joining us here. Tell us a bit about the company. You are into the providing healthcare services in rural areas as well. But what are the kind of gaps that you're trying to fill, and how are you planning to utilize this current fundraise that the company has gotten?
Hi, Sumita. Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, we are trying to make healthcare accessible to the remote and medically underserved rural locations. The core problems that we are trying to solve is, first, creating access to healthcare, because in a lot of these places, it's not affordability which is a challenge. What is a challenge is really the access. Second, we are trying to bring very, very high quality healthcare without compromising on the quality. And third, we are trying to make it both affordable as well as drive the rural population into a preventive journey. This round of investment that we have raised is going to help us in 3 core areas. One is to maintain the growth momentum that we have and expand to newer geographies like Jharkhand and Bihar. Second, we will continue investing on technology, especially on intelligent tech, and we have built one of the largest primary healthcare data platform, and those investments will continue. And the third area of investment is going to be in hiring talent. We're trying to solve for a very difficult problem, and we need people who recognize this and associate with the purpose to join us in this journey.
Right. So you have a lot of tasks ahead of you in terms of course, improving access to healthcare. And that's essentially, you're going to look at it with the latest funding round. But how do you envision expanding Curebay's presence beyond Odisha and Chhattisgarh, which are going to be the priority areas for you over the next few months?
Yes. So one of the things we have observed in healthcare is there is a adjacency play, which is both on the demand and supply side. So we have seen people even in central parts of Orissa actually coming from Jharkhand, people from southern Orissa traveling to Telangana. So we're going to expand by adjacencies. So the next market that we're going to enter is going to be southern Jharkhand. From there, we will be moving on to Bihar. And in the next coming 2 to 3 years, our plan is to move to Jharkhand, Bihar, MP, Eastern UP, and Telangana. Those are the markets we are looking at in the immediate future.
Right. So you do have expansion plans, in that particular geography in the country, Telangana, Jharkhand, Bihar, besides, of course, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Sir, India's healthcare space is rather crowded. So what's going to be your key moat or your competitive advantage against platforms that are already on digital platforms? You do have Practo, you have PharmEasy, you have 1MG as well. How are you looking at superseding competition in this space?
Well, all the names that you have taken, Sumita, if you see, are very, very focused on urban and tier 1 markets. When we are talking about remote, rural, and medically underserved markets, we don't have digital players present there because the supply chain doesn't exist there. So we're trying to create a model which leverages technology and is actually a hybrid model. So it brings in a human touch through a network of accessible and highly, tech-enabled clinics on one end, and a tech platform that is built on continuity of care on the other end. So we are taking healthcare to places where it has not reached in remote medically underserved locations. And our biggest moat that we are building is, it's not just new market, new customers we are reaching. We're also sort of driving them in a journey of preventive healthcare, and customers are slowly joining us in this journey, and they're staying with us into buying into a subscription model with us. So those are very, very strong plays that is emerging at Curebay.
Right. So you are specifically going to be rural focused based, but what is the growth that you're anticipating being in these geographies and these areas and not venturing into the urban markets?
If you see, most of the healthcare infrastructure in India actually is very skewed towards urban India. And all that caters to about 300 to 350 million people. Bharat, or rural India, what we call, is almost a billion people market. And it's a massive market. And we don't have too many players playing in that market. So the way we are sort of positioning ourselves as somebody who's bringing trusted, credible, high quality healthcare to these remote areas, we believe that we will be reaching close to providing healthcare to 100 million people in the next 3 years.
All right. Mr. Mohapatra, now many startups we see, they are struggling with burn rates and monetization. So what's your approach to achieving unit level profitability whilst at the same time making sure that the costs are under control?
Great question, Sumita. And from day one, we were extremely focused on building an infrastructure that is asset light. So our clinics in the front end are extremely asset light, and we leverage technology. Is our biggest leverage, which helps us connect with the community as well as the healthcare ecosystem. And this model, this hybrid model where the front end is asset light and technology is helping connect the people, has actually made us drive profitability in a very responsible manner as we have grown. So out of the 150 clinics that we operate today, we operate in a concept called circles, which is a cluster of 50 clinics, and two of our circles have already achieved operational break-even. So we are very focused on driving access to healthcare in a profitable manner.
Access to healthcare in a profitable manner, that's great, Mr. Mohapatra. But once again, let me probe a bit deeper into that question of affordability with sustainability in your rural model, especially given the fact that the cost of operating eClinics, there is a cost attached to that, right? So how do you balance both of them?
Yeah, model is based on dignity of care. So every service that a customer avails at Curebay is an affordable service, but it's a paid service. And the way we have designed the model is, as the customers start consuming more and more service from us, which starts from, let's say, digital consultation to procuring the full stack of healthcare, including diagnostic services, procurement of medicine, and membership, that program that I spoke about, even including the tertiary help that we provide to them through our concierge service, connecting them with hospital infrastructure. All of these are revenue drivers for us. And the model, because it's asset light, is able to break even faster.
Right. And what's your strategy for selecting new geographies for expansion? For example, you mentioned about Jharkhand. You mentioned about some other states as well. How are you targeting these states with certain healthcare infrastructure gaps? Is this completely based on healthcare gaps, or are there any demographic indicators that you're focused on when you arrive at which locations to choose for expansion?
Yeah, so there are two or three core parameters that we look at. One, obviously, is the demographic population density that exists there. I mean, if there is a critical mass not there, the viability of the model comes under question. Second, we map in terms of healthcare infrastructure already available there. So if there is a place which has adequate healthcare infrastructure, we believe there is not a significant role that we can play there. And third is the availability of healthcare infrastructure, because we are not service providers. We are creating a hybrid platform play where we are enabling the healthcare ecosystem to participate on that, to bring access to healthcare. So these three parameters are extremely important for us from an evaluation criteria when we decide to go into a geography.
All right. And Mr. Mohapatra, if you could shed some light on the company's financials. As a company, are you profitable? If not, then by when are you looking at profitability for the company?
See, the way our model is, every time we add a new circle, open up new clinics, our burn starts. But like I said, the circle concept is created in a manner that we break even in about 18 months for a circle, and in about 30 months, our circles start contributing back into the company. So at an operating level, we are actually achieving break even in two of our circles, and the third one is almost about to achieve. At a company level, if we stop growth, we will achieve break even in the next 18 to 20 months, but that's not the plan. We plan to go to 6 states, open about 16 circles. So we see that we will continue driving this growth with some amount of burn, but eventually we're going to drive profitability in about 3 to 4 years' time.
Profitability is something that you're looking at in 3 to 4 years' time, and before that, it's all going to be a growth and sustainable growth from what I can pick up from our conversation. Would you be looking at, Mr. Mohapatra, more funding than because you're looking at growth? So is that something that's on the anvil as well before you become profitable?
Absolutely. We are solving a non-trivial problem and we need aligned capital to come and back us. We've just closed our Series B. We will definitely look at, having a Series C in about 12 to 18 months from now. And like I said, this is a balance of growth with capital that we need. So as we keep expanding, as we keep adding newer circles, some of our old circles, which are vintage, will start contributing as they've become profitable. They will start contributing to the company's profitability. So we'll keep balancing that growth along with the need for capital.
Right. So 16 circles is what you're looking at so far as expansion of the company and its healthcare services are concerned in several states that you mentioned, Mr. Mohapatra. Thank you very much once again for joining us here on ET Now and Startup Central.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, time now for us to slip into a quick break. But after the break, we'll be tracking updates from the IPO market. NSDL has filed for prospectus for a smaller IPO. Shiprocket to file confidential prospectus for IPO. That and a lot more is coming up on the other side. You don't go anywhere.